meekness suggests to me an openness, right? An openness that assumes that I don't have it all together. There's all kinds of things I need to learn. Over against, a kind of control. There's a sense of welcome to other people, to other traditions, and certainly a welcome to the riches of creation in meekness that you don't find to be common in a more dominant imperial capitalist kind of engaging of the world.
That's right.
Okay?
And so, all of these things, patience, love, peace, in the middle of them, Paul uses the word forgiveness 3 times. Bear with one another. And if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other. This is verse 13. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so also you must forgive. 3 times. Well, almost 4 if you take bear with each other.
Yeah.
Which I think is also tied in with meekness and humility. Because you know what? As a community, you're going to try to clothe yourself with these things. And you're going to try to be patient, have compassion. And boy, we're all going to screw up really, really bad. And Paul is saying, so the most important thing, be forgiving. Be forgiving. And again, be forgiving. And bear with each other. And be forgiving. Because that's what it's going to take if you're going to be able to live together in love.
Okay.
To be willing to forgive each other for all that.
And we could go on with all those other virtues. Mm-hmm. Let the peace of Christ rule in your heart. How's the peace of Christ rule in our heart when we're a nation at war? And how do we relate to war if the peace of Christ rules in our heart? But that forgiveness thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still worried about Onesimus over in the corner.
All right, Onesimus.
I'm still worried about Onesimus.
Well, Paul does go on to talk about slaves and masters and wives and husbands and children and things. And,
yeah.
And it seems to me like he's,
wives be subject, children obey, slaves obey.
Well, yeah, all that. But he talks first to the wives, if you know, in 3:18 there, and 3:20, and in 3:22. He does talk to the wives and the children and the slaves first, which suggests that he's suggesting that the husbands and the fathers, and I guess it's one guy, right? Who's the husband and the master and the father. Okay, that one guy, that he, be loving and kind in those situations.
Kind of sounds like love patriarchy. A kinder, gentler patriarchy.
I guess it does, yeah.
That's not going to work. Well, that's not going to work. If everything that we've been coming up with in this conversation about this as an counter-imperial tract is true, then I don't think that Onesimus is going to be too impressed with love patriarchy. A kinder, gentler slavery.
Yeah.
I have looked actually more closely at this one.
You've read right to the end and looked closely at it.
Yeah. So look at this. Just look at this for a second. So listen to it, this passage, and I'm going to translate the word master and Lord always as master, because I understand in the Greek it's the same.
Yeah, it is actually.
Okay.
Kurios.
So, wives, be subject to your husbands as is fitting in the master. Husbands, love your wives and never treat them harshly. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this is your acceptable duty in the master. Fathers, do not provoke your children, or they may lose heart. Slaves, obey your earthly masters, or masters according to the flesh, in everything, not only while being watched in order to please them, but wholeheartedly fearing the master. Whatever your task, put yourselves into it as done for the master, and not for your masters, since you know that from the master you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You serve the messianic master, the Lord Christ. For the wrongdoer will be paid back for whatever wrong has been done, and there is no partiality. Masters, treat your slaves justly and fairly, for you know that you also have a master in heaven. Now, it seems to me what's going on there is Paul is relativizing earthly masters.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They have no authority because they have another master.
They are subject to a master. So I think that already, I think you're right, that he addresses the wives, the children, and the slaves is self-significant. But now he addresses them in such a way that they are fundamentally and most ultimately subject not to their earthly master, but to the Messianic master. Messianic master.
Wait, the Messiah was supposed to set all slaves free.
Look at another word here, my friend.
Oh.
Can I call you my friend? We haven't known each other long, but
okay.
I feel like we've been getting along really well.
I don't think you're my enemy. So.
There you are. Okay. Look at this. This is great. Verse 24. Since you know that from the master you will receive the inheritance as your reward, you serve the Messianic master. Inheritance. Think about that for a second. Remember that Old Testament story? Maybe I know a little more than I let on, but when in that Old Testament story do slaves ever receive an inheritance?
Oh, Jubilee.
But even, yes, and before that?
Exodus, they received an inheritance.
The Exodus and the Jubilee. So I think that Paul uses this word inheritance. He's only used it once before in the letter earlier, and he's clearly referring to our inheritance in Christ, that Christ brings an inheritance, and it's an Exodus reference there at the end of chapter 1 around verse 13 or 14. Now here he uses the word inheritance. I think that that's a code word. I think that that's a word that anybody in the community who knew the background of Israel's story would immediately begin to think, my goodness, might he be suggesting the slaves should be set free? And now, specifically about Onesimus, two quick things. At the end of the letter, verse 7, Tychicus will tell you all the news about me. He is a beloved brother, a faithful minister, and a fellow slave in the Lord. The word is slave. Tychicus, the carrier of the letter, is called a slave in the Lord, as Paul in other places refers to himself as a slave in the Lord. I have sent him to you for this very purpose, so that you may know how we are, and that he may encourage your hearts. He is coming with Onesimus, the faithful. The faithful. Onesimus, the runaway slave, is faithful, and beloved slave, no, brother, who is one of you. They will tell everything about me.
Of course. And then in Philemon, Paul says, he does all this thing about him. I'd like to keep Onesimus with me, but I'm sending him back to you because I want your good deed to be voluntary. So, oh, what good deed? Wait a minute here. Yeah. And then he says, you know, I'm if he owes you anything, charge that to me. And by the way, you owe me your very life. You know, I'm confident that you're going to do even more than I'm asking you to do. And by the way, prepare a room because I'm going to be there soon.
Like he's going to come and check up on.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That explains Philemon. Because Philemon sounds like he's saying, look, I want you to set him free.
Yeah.
And that fits in perfectly.
And just to tighten it up just a little bit, verse later, Epaphras, who's the guy who brought the gospel to Colossae, he calls him a slave too.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, Epaphras is called a slave. Tychicus is called a slave.
But
Onesimus is a brother.
Oh, that's great. So what he's doing here, and he's actually taking on the story of the empire, and now he's taking on the economic structures of the empire. He's saying, these are not the economic structures we work with.
Yeah, we could go on a lot. This has been great. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And we could go on a long time, and maybe another time we will. But this stuff can live for me. You know, and this can live for my friends who, when they open the Bible, they say that they feel like they're just getting punched in the face with the absolute. That they read the Bible, and the Bible just seems like an oppressive text. And this conversation just, this is exciting. Yeah. Well, we should probably.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to show up.
Because I think that this is probably
okay.
it. So anyway, let's go.
Sorry, I'm really sorry. My moped broke down.
It was Mark.
It was Mark Ross.
It was the moped broke down.
Well,
I'm finally here to do the Bible study.
We've done it.
Oh, you've done it.
Yeah, we had a good time. I think you would have enjoyed it.
Have you learned something?
I
yeah,
think
a little
we
bit.
have. And
yeah.
I was wondering if maybe I want to go for coffee later, me and you.
Well, what about Mark? We can't leave him here.
He's got to fix his moped, I think.
Of course.
Yeah.